friends and colleagues. So many times when I travel around the world, many interpreters and translators tell me that prospective employers and others ask them for their professional resumes. A lot of them give the resume away without thinking about it twice, and that really concerns me because most of the times your resume is not wanted by others for any good reasons. Now, of course, sometimes you may need to file your resume if you go to a website or you file an application with a government agency or some other entity and you initiated the process because that's what you want, because that is in your best interest. That is a legitimate way to do it. Another possibility is also when you have a good client, you already signed a contract, it is a done deal, and somehow the client of your client wants to see your resume. Hey, I have no problem with that. I can give my resume. I gladly give my resume in that situation. Why? Because the job is already mine. The problem is when somebody else asks you for your resume for reasons different from what I just mentioned. Many times, interpreters are contacted by agencies who share with them the fact that they are on a bidding process for a big contract, whether it is a government contract or a private contract, but they do not have it yet. They argue that they want your resume because they want to prove to their prospective client that they are the best option, that they are the most legitimate because they do have the most capable interpreters working for them. That would be all nice if it were really true. But oftentimes, and I could almost say almost in every occasion, these people only want your resume so that they can inflate their bids. And when they get that contract, they never call you again. They will at that point contact other interpreters of lower quality, less experience, because they ask for a lower fee. You see, people many times get these bids because they offer the cheapest service with the best possible interpreters. So they bid really low. They ask for very little money because they know that their margin is going to be good since they will never ever hire you. They will use your resume to win the contract and then they will use somebody else to do the job. Somebody whose resume is so pitiful that on the first place they were ashamed of showing it, or they had the certainty that they would never get the bid had they provided those other resumes. And it could even get worse. There are occasions where some agencies, some unscrupulous people, will request your resume just to use it and abuse it and commit fraud. That is, they will upload it on some bogus website, maybe halfway across the world. You will probably never know about it, or you will find out that they've been using your resume years later. When all of a sudden you go to a certain website and you see your resume with your picture, perhaps with a different name, being portrayed as one of their in-house interpreters or one of the people that they usually work with. On other occasions, you will find your real name, you will find your real information, but perhaps with a different picture. And if you used to live in Los Angeles, California, well, now you will learn that now you live in Johannesburg, South Africa. These are all fraudulent resumes used by these fraudulent agencies so that they can entice all these people who want to pay very little for professional fees to work with them. I say we have to be very careful as to who we share our resume with. My rule is I do not share my resume with anybody unless I do it for one of the two reasons I expressed at the beginning. When I, on my own, initiate a process and I have to upload it to get a certain client. Or two, when I already have a client with a signed contract and this is just an additional informative requirement that the client of my client is requesting. In any other instance, if you're contacted by this really nice project manager or by this really nice programmer, and they ask you for your resume, instead of giving them your resume, do what I do. I just simply tell them, if you want to know more about who I am, please Google me. Go to Google, type Tony Rosado interpreter, and you will get pages and pages of information as to who I am, what I do, who I have worked with, what I have written, and many, many other things. That's the only way that we can assure ourselves that nobody is using our credentials, our hardly earned resumes, to commit fraud and to fool somebody else. So be very careful and don't just give your resume away. At least that is my opinion. Thank you.